Until I said that.
So in this week's Parsha, Parsha's told us we have the Bechira of Bechira that Esau sold the Bechira to Yaakov. And this leads to one of the fascinating, interesting discussions that we have regarding, can one sell his Olam Habah? Okay, we'll start with the stories, many stories about that. I found, I was looking today, that there's a sefer called Mechiras Olam Habah B'Halacha V'Agoda, written by Rabbi Yochanan Tversky, the whole sefer, going about the whole thing. He brings me like the stories and everything. So the famous story, I think, is after Ruv is known that he came and he came a chassid to him and told him that he doesn't have any money. So he gave him 1 ruble and he said, go do the first business that you see. So he goes out, and different versions of the story I saw. I say some Yid sees him, a Yid that he's not a big believer, and he tells him, what are you doing? He says, I have 1 ruble, I have to do business. He says, you can do business with 1 ruble? What are you going to do with 1 ruble? Yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything. You want a business? I'll give you a business. I'll sell you my Olam Habah for 1 ruble. You should be happy. So the Yid gives him the ruble, and the seller fails. He says, this is a Shait Sheba Olam. His Rebbe told him to use a ruble. Look what he did with that ruble. So the Sheikhah goes back home, and his wife, and he tells his wife, you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I sold my Olam Habah today for 1 ruble. The Shait bought it for 1 ruble. She says, you have no Olam Habah? Do you want to be married to a goy? Go right back and get it back. So he goes back to the Yid. He says, I want it back. He says, I'm not selling it back. I got a good mitzvah. I bought Olam Habah for 1 ruble. Gavaldik. I don't need more than that. So he says, she said, please, I need my wife is not going to bring you back home. The kid, so he asked her about it for 1,000,000 ruble back until he had no choice. He bought it back, and that was the good business that Rebbe meant. So the shaila is, does it actually work or does it not work? So just going to start with, in the short time that we have, just a short likut of the main mefarshim to speak about it. There's a lot of tshuvas that were written in this. And then a conclusion that I heard personally, there was a story that happened today's day and age with this Indian, which we'll get to. And I heard the answer of Moshe Shapir Zatzal, the Rebbe, about it. So we'll see how all this comes together. So probably the first one is the Maharam El Shakar brings. He's quoting Rav Hai Goy. And the shaila is, this is the shaila. Someone sells to each other. Can you go and you sell schus to somebody else? So he brings Rav Hai Goy and he says, the Maisi says this doesn't work. You can't sell the Olam Habah. The Olam Habah, your schusim, it's not pshat, it's not something that you could call and sell. Person goes and he went and he did the avodah and he did the tircha and he had the nisoyon and he got schar. Now somebody else comes and buys it, doesn't work. He says, how can you do it? He brings psukim, says, everybody goes and says, not shaykh. That's what he says.
How would you make a kinyan?
Oh, that's another thing. Money doesn't work. That's how Shakar brings Shakar in the name of Rangrid. Then Etziv, in his Nemeshiv Dover, he brings Chel Gimel Simon Yudalad, he brings Chade Anoyde Lo'odom Godol Me'echov, Machar Chatzi Zchuyoysov U'mitzvoysov, Pesach Godol 22,000 ruble. Big money, he sold his chusim, Leish Ashir, he sold it, can you do it or not? That's what the Netziv speaks about. So Netziv goes on to say that, first of all, the seller, how can you sell your Olam Habah? What kind of thing is that? He gives like a Musar, the seller. You're giving up on your Olam Habah. And he says, what is he doing to do? He's doing it to Esau. I have a b'chayra and he's giving up. He's giving us the Olam Habah. How can he do such a thing? And then he goes into the shaila and he wants to say, first of all, there's a difference between schar Torah and schar mitzvah. So schar Torah, what is schar Torah? You're going to go to Bismen Shamayim. And you can be learning the Torah. So someone who learns Torah and he knows Torah, he goes to the Bismen Shamayim, Mesivta Derekia, he's a Yad of Rav Loi. It says about Yehuda, Rav Loi, busy in learning. But a guy who's on Haaretz goes into Mesivta Derekia, he's going to be embarrassed. So what kind of schar? You can't sell that. Schar mitzvah, he says, maybe you could sell. He's debating if you could do schar mitzvah or not. And then he has a different problem. And this is a problem. We spoke about it in previous years. I checked 7 years ago and 4 years ago on this year. So you remember probably. we spoke about the big discussion that we're showing how can Esav sell the B'chayro? And one of the issues is, that's the Shaya, the Baal Turim speaks about it in Pirush Torah Aruch, and the Rivash speaks about it in Shuvah, is what about Dova Shalom B'Loylam? How can you sell the B'chayro as Dova Shalom B'Loylam? It's not here. It's like the B'chayro that will come. How can you do it? Maybe the Torah said that if you do Shavuah, that's a Shavuah Kayoim that takes care of that. The Rivash doesn't like that answer. Big discussion. It says the Netziv, the same problem you have with the Olam Haba. The Rivash wants to say that before Matatoy you can sell. How can you sell? There's no mamosh, there's no not something to sell. It's not here. What are you selling exactly? So that's why he has a problem with that, and that's why it doesn't work. And Lamaisi he holds that you can't sell. It's very similar. You cannot sell the Olam Haba. It doesn't work. There is others that disagree, and one of them is a Sefer Shari Shamayim. Shari Shamayim was a Ruv that was here, lived in America about 130 years ago, and he wrote a few Choshev Sfarim, and he brings here, he wants to bring the Mekaribis that you could sell the Olam Haba. Olam Haba is he able to sell? One of the main Nikudas, he says, what's the problem that people are having that it's Dov Shalom B'Loylam, I don't have it? He says, it's not true. Olam Haba, of course, Dov Shalom B'Loylam. Schar mitzvah is a mitzvah. You do a mitzvah, you have it right now. It's not something that the future is going to be. Right now, up there in Shemayim, it's Kaim, you could sell it. So L'chor, he says, of course you could sell it. And he says, it brings also the story of Yaakov. He says the reason Yaakov was so, he bought the B'chayro is again because the Yivas Esav is a B'chayro. So someone who sells is a Yivas Adrabah, it's a mitzvah to be selling, to buy his Olam Haba because of a bizoyon that he has, and he claims that works, and it's a good Mechira, and that Mechira works. So we have a discussion over here, can you sell Olam Haba, not sell Olam Haba, is it Shaykh or not Shaykh? There was a Maaseh that happened here in America. David Lichtenstein, will say, he went to Michael Steiner, that was the one who sponsored Birthright, and he met him, and he said, I heard the story from him, Bala Maaseh. He was with him at a dinner, and he tells him, you know that, you have a lot of schusim, because you have all the Jews there to Israel, many of them are not assimilating, and you have a big schus in Shemayim. He tells, I don't believe in all these things. I don't believe in it. So you don't believe in it? So he said, okay, I'll buy it. He sold it for a price of, I think it was a big sum. I think it was like $50,000. He gave him a check for $50,000, and he bought from him, the Dov Lichtenstein bought from Michael Steiner his Olam Haba. That's the story. He said, when we were on a trip from Shapira, he told him the story, and he said that his cheshbon was the after of, because after of story, the wife came back and thought he was hoping that the wife of Michael Steiner will come and say also, that's what he said was his cheshbon, but Lamaisi he bought the Olam Haba. So Ramon Shapira Zatzal said, it doesn't work. You know why it doesn't work? The reason it doesn't work, not because of all the other issues, Dov Shalom B'Loylam and Dov Shalom B'Moshes. It says, it tries like this. Olam Haba only exists as much as you believe in Olam Haba. If you don't believe in Olam Haba, there's no Olam Haba. What's the raya? So it's actually a Chidush Ari. Because it says, we know that in this world, it says, it's really Misham Aponav La'avidai. A tzaddik gets his schar in Olam Haba. The Rasha gets schar in Olam Haba. What do you mean? Schar mitzvah b'hai al maleka. You can't pay in this world for the schar of mitzvahs. The schar is only the schar. Hey, 1 second in Olam Haba. You can't even imagine what it is. What do you mean? Are you paying something for a Rasha Olam Haba? So the Chidush Arim, I saw others bring it as well. Pshat is because in Olam Haba he doesn't believe in Olam Haba. He doesn't believe in Olam Haba, so al korchecha, for him there's no Olam Haba. So the Rosh Lishita, so the best schar he can get is this Olam Haba. He doesn't believe in that. In other words, Olam Haba is only as much as you believe in that Olam. If you don't believe, it doesn't exist. So Moshe, someone who sells his Olam Haba doesn't believe in it. Doesn't believe in it, meaning it's worthless. He didn't sell anything. That's what he says.
So he threw out the 50K?
Oh, it's a good question, child. But the Mai say, she says you should go back and tell it.
If someone who does like Michael Sandler, forget that he sold it, but he's doing things.
So he has a bigger work, because people will give him schar and Olam. Maybe that's why he's so rich.
Forget about selling it. If he didn't sell it, does that mean he doesn't get Olam Haba?
Oh, so let's show what does it mean doesn't believe? You have to understand the Chidush Arim. To what extent? Does it mean mamish nothing? Something?
I'm saying he doesn't believe in anything. He just says.
So the if he does, of course, again, to what extent do you say it? The person that never knew it, he's a Torah Shanishba.
So for Michael's 950K, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah, but okay, but he said he deposited. Yeah, they use right. So he brings this one, and this I saw that the mice said this will end. Is one more the mice said they brought down in the sefer. He brings a story. The sefer that happened with the Ritvaz. It's a very very similar story to all the other stories. There was a butcher in town that on a Thursday he's selling meat, and then in the middle of the day he closed the store for an hour. And a doctor passes by, and the doctor says, "What are you doing? It's Thursday. You have Shabbos. That's the biggest sale you have." He says, "I'm going to shul. I have to learn. I have a time for Minchamayev. And I go to learn. That's the time I learn. I'm the same way I have to get Olam Hazeh. I have to sell meat for Olam Hazeh. I need also Olam Habah." So the doctor makes fun of him and says, "Olam Habah is nothing." He says, "If you want, I'll sell you my Olam Habah." A similar story to the Abtirov. Now, what happens is he's nifter. Then the wife of the doctor comes to the butcher and she says, I want you to sell it back. And he doesn't want to. And he says that my husband came to me in a dream and says he has no menucha in Olam Habah because he sold the Olam Habah. So you have to get it back. So they went to the Ritvaz. The Ritvaz was the Roman town. They went to the Ritvaz. So the story goes, there's a big tumult, and the Ritvaz came and they said they have to do a din Torah. They did a din Torah, and there was a psak halacha of the Ritvaz. So the Ritvaz comes, there was 3 piskei halacha that came for the Ritvaz. Number 1 was the mechira is batel. Why? Because that you can't sell it. You can't sell them out. So you can't sell. That's similar to what we saw the Raigoy. Number 2, the doctor lost his chelik in Gan Eden. Why? Because when he sold it, he showed something to Ramesh said it's not worth it for him. So he lost everything. So there's no sale over here. And it's not changing. The doctor doesn't have Olam Habah either. See if Gimel, now the doctor made such a tumult to his wife, and they came to Din Torah, and the whole town did it. This caused a big Kodesh Hashem. So for this, he's going to be zoiche to another schar and Olam Habah because of this thing that the whole tumult he was doing after Misa. So Lamaisi, you see here that the Ritvaz, in the second point says, Lamaisi, he lost everything because of the bizoyan that he did. So there's a little bit of, into the discussion, I see in the Sefer, Mechiras Olam Habah, he brings, I'm not mistaken, at least 30 shas and shuvas that are dealing with this thing. So, I know there's a lot to talk about, but this is a little bit of tidbit on this big Indian Seder.